South Africa send out a massive warning to any team looking to dethrone them as world champions with a massive win against the All Blacks. My name is Mark, let's talk rugby. South Africa start this one off with huge intensity. First up, we have MacLeod putting in a big hit right, just after the start. He needs a bit of treatment on field. The ref stops play for a little while, but he's fine to continue. South Africa then win a penalty at the scrum as we restart. They go to the corner from that. They win another penalty for New Zealand going early in the line-out. Go to the corner again. South Africa then maul it to within a couple of metres. Peter steps to tie. He gets over the line, but he gets held up. South Africa starting really well and feeling like they'll want to come away with a try from this period of pressure. They go to the corner from yet another penalty. De Groot, he's early in the line out, so it's another advantage. South Africa then try to spread it out to the opposite wing, but Mapimpi can't get over in the corner. Some decent defence from New Zealand, but obviously some of it is illegal. All Blacks then, they get a warning for too many penalties in the red zone, and they're told that the next one is going to go to the bin. South Africa go back to the corner. They try the rolling maul, but New Zealand defended really well, and they managed to get in there and turn the ball over. Felt like a chance missed for the Springboks. New Zealand then, they tried to work their way out of their own half, but a few minutes later, they give away a South Africa 5-minute scrum after passing the ball back over their own line. I think then Kane knocked it on behind the line as well. So find it really hard to even get out of their own 22, let alone their own half. South Africa then win penalty advantage at the scrum. They spread it out to Marks. He gets monstered in the tackle. One of the few times when South African actually went backwards in contact tonight. They were so aggressive. We come back for the penalty from the scrum. New Zealand, now they're on a general warning for a yellow card, and it's not just, infringements at the ruck close to the line. South Africa attack off the back of the scrum. Esterhuizen makes some really good ground, brings him right up under the post. They then spread it a bit, but they knock it on. Some good defensive pressure from the All Blacks here. Whitelock then nicks the line out after they've kicked clear. South Africa, though, they run it back and they force another penalty just inside the New Zealand half, and Scott Barrett gets himself a yellow card for hands on the deck. We pause then for some treatment to Tyrell Lomax. Looks like he's got a nasty gash on his leg. Hopefully it is only a cut and he's going to be back for the Rugby World Cup and he'll be fine, because he would be a big blow for them. South Africa go to the corner from the penalty. New Zealand concede yet another penalty at the maul, and then Sam Cane is sent to the bin. They're down to 13 now for the next little while. South Africa, they decide to go to the maul again. Marks breaks off this one. Looks like he's held up over the line. We have a TMO check and it's no try. So South Africa with all the ball, all the possession, all the territory, and New Zealand just about hanging in there, but they're giving away, tons of penalties at the same time. South Africa, they then win another penalty for the Groot. Basically rolled the wrong way at the ruck and got in the way of the scrum half. So South Africa kick it to the corner, and then they finally get over the line from close range, and it's Captain Sia Kalusi. He was involved earlier in the move, with a decent tilt at the line, and then finally gets over under the post to score. Lebok adds the extras from in front, actually just about, though he almost missed it, and it's 7-0. At the restart then, Etzebeth goes off his feet at the ruck and it's a penalty to New Zealand. It's central, just on the 22 as well. And I'm thinking, okay, New Zealand are doing the right thing. They're taking the points because they're not really in the game. But Mwanga actually hits the post from this. It was a really easy kick, so we're still at 7-0. New Zealand then concede another penalty, this time in the South African half. And, I've rarely seen any team give away penalties at the rate that, they're giving away and never an All Blacks team before. From here then, Esterhuizen picks a great line between Jordy Barrett and Rico Ioane. It's in the midfield around halfway, brings South Africa back to New Zealand 22. Really good run from him. New Zealand, though, they managed to see out the rest of the yellow card period and get themselves back to 15. We then, though, have continued pressure from South Africa, and that leads to the second try of the game. New Zealand, they're looking to run the ball out of their own 22 from the back of a scrum that was under a little bit of pressure. Jordy Barrett initially does well. He steps through the line, and then as he is getting tackled, he's looking for the offload. But Kurtley Arendse, he reads it, picks it off, and he goes in under the post. It's converted for 14-0. Talea then, he plucks the restart out of the air and breaks into the 22. It was kind of, if you remember Mac Hansen against France a couple of seasons ago, where he just kind of plucked out of the air and then didn't break stride. Same kind of thing, but he gets caught in the 22. He gets isolated, turned over, penalty to South Africa. New Zealand then, they start working their way back into the game in the last kind of 5 minutes or so of the half. They get a penalty inside the South Africa 22. Then play stop for a foul play check, and it's a clear out by Scott Barrett on Marks. I noticed it in live. I saw like the ball had moved, and then Barrett just comes flying in, goes off his feet into ruck, and thinking like, what was the point of that? Like the ball's already gone. He wasn't doing anything to, speed up the presentation of the ball or anything like that. And now when we see it, he's kind of, it's dangerous. He's coming in at speed. There's no head contact or anything like that though, but he gets a yellow, is sent to the bunker for review, but because it's the second yellow of the game, whatever happens, it's a red card anyway, so he's off for the rest of the game. New Zealand now down to 14 until the game is done. And at that stage then the review still mattered, because if it turned out to be a straight red, then there was a potential ban in the offing for him as well. Then Vai comes on for Jacobson to play in the second row in his place. New Zealand, they come forward with clock in the red. They have a penalty advantage, and Will Jordan gets over to, looks like he scored his customary try. Quick ball really was key to them being able to get over the line. But then we have a team more review, and we see that Talea actually knocks it on in the build-up. So we come back for the penalty. New Zealand go to the corner, but then Etzebeth nicks the line out. There's a little bit of play after that, but comes to nothing. Half-time 14-0 to South Africa. And other than those last 5 minutes, it was all South Africa in that first half. We then hear, just before the second half starts, Barrett's second yellow wasn't upgraded, so he's still off for the rest of the game, but it means that there's now not going to be a disciplinary hearing for him to go to. At the start of the second half then, Beauden Barrett, he tries a cross kick in his own 22 to Talea, but actually goes out over the line, so South Africa have a line out 10 metres out from the New Zealand line. Mostert claims the line out. They set up a fake maul. He goes off the top to Khaleesi, who's on the peel, and Khaleesi draws the cover defence and puts Marks over in the corner. Lebock converts from out wide, 21-0. I have to say Lebock from the tee was absolutely immaculate in this game, much improved from last week. The ball then squirts out the side of a ruck. Kena Moody kicks it out of the reach of Ioane through his legs. He collects it and then runs in from around halfway. But then we have a TMO review that shows that he wasn't actually bound to the ruck, so therefore he was offside when the ball came out. So it's no try. South Africa then make 7 changes in the pack at the same time, because they went for a 7-1 split after Willie Leroux didn't recover to be on the bench, so they had Quagga Smith in instead of him. So all 7 of those forwards come on, and I think it's Peter Steph is the one forward who isn't changed. From here, then we have a TMO review for a high hit from Peter Step to Toy. He gets himself a yellow card. That goes to the bunker for review, but later on it remains a yellow. There was plenty of mitigation in that one. South Africa then they win a penalty, and Lebok puts an absolute beautiful kick to get them to within 5 meters of the line. Sneijman claims the line out. They set up the maul, they drive over, and it's Mbanambi who is the scorer. Lebok then converts from the touchline. It's 28-0, and this is just crazy. You never see New Zealand getting dominated for pretty much an entire game like this. South Africa then, they win a scrum penalty on halfway, kick that to the corner. They go off the top of the line out. Quagga Smith comes on the peel and he gets over to score. Lebok converts for 35-0. New Zealand then finally produce something. Rygaard, he ducks under the attempted tackle of Keenan Moody, round about his own 10-metre line, then steps through another 2 or 3 tackles in the midfield and goes over under the challenge of Reinhardt, kind of slides over and grounds behind him, similar to, there was a try where it was Brian O'Driscoll scored against Australia years and years ago in a World Cup. It was a similar kind of thing, sliding on the ground and then is able to kind of reach behind himself and ground the ball for the try. Really good from him. Gets converted by Moanga, and we're at 35-7. New Zealand then, they go hunting for another try in the final minutes of the game. They tap a penalty with the clock in the red, 5 meters out. South Africa managed to turn it over, but they knock it on. And a few of the players don't know, and they've gone racing up the field, but that's the game. It's over. It's 35-7 is the final score. That was a record losing margin for New Zealand by 28 points. Previous record was 21. That was against Australia back in 1999. And the previous biggest loss to the Springboks was 17-0 back in 1928. They did lose by 16 points, 26-10 to them last year as well. But yeah, this was a massive margin. And, New Zealand, they were on 11 game winning streak. They really were looking like they were coming into form ahead of the Rugby World Cup. Now it's going to be a case of, is this just a blip for them, or is this the kind of seismic result that we saw ahead of the last World Cup, say when England put 50 odd points on Ireland, and Ireland just mentally never recovered from that, even though they went on to win twice against Wales. They just were mentally shot for the Rugby World Cup. New Zealand, they're used to winning, and I'm not sure mentally how this is going to affect them, but they're going to have to recover for that opening game against France. Like, what a way to kind of, if you need any motivation to recover from a defeat like this, knowing that that massive game is on the horizon, certainly will G them up for that. But yeah, New Zealand across the board, very poor. South Africa, there's no point in picking out individuals for the most part, because they were just excellent all over. Front row, excellent as always, so aggressive at the breakdown. Then I thought Mart started well against Etzebeth, with Etzebeth in the second row as well. The back row looked good as well, but the replacements with Ekwan looked good too. Keenan Moody, starting at 13 for the first time at test level, looked really well, other than that try that Rygaard got where Rygaard ducked under his tackle. But other than that, he looked really good, and unlucky not to have himself a try out of it as well. Thought Wilmstead did well at full back in replacing Willie LaRue, and then both wings, Mapimpi and Curtly Aronson, both looking dangerous as well. So it could be now going into the World Cup. Maybe Nienaber is going to think about, well, does Moody come into the midfield instead of Dialende? And then do you play Colby and Curtly Aronson on the wings and have, your 3 kind of in-form strike runner backs all together in the team? So we'll see what's going to happen with that. As I said, for New Zealand, I thought in the scrums, South Africa were on top. We've seen like De Groot and Lomax being very aggressive, even against this South Africa front row in the Rugby Championship, and getting the better of them at times as well. But tonight it was just all about the Springboks, and even those guys couldn't do anything for them. Sabaya, he was decent. I don't think you ever really see Sabaya having a bad game for New Zealand, even when they're losing by a record margin. The guy seems to, at least be playing above most of those around him. But there aren't that many positives really you can pluck out for New Zealand, other than it happened now and not in the Rugby World Cup. But yeah, the rest of now the likes of France, Ireland, Scotland, and then New Zealand themselves obviously are going to sit up and take notice of how good this South Africa team played tonight and what form they're in. And it's going to be very hard to, wrest that World Cup trophy out of their hands. They're not going to give it up easily. You're going to have to be on the absolute top of your game to beat them. And I think, a team who goes on to win this Rugby World Cup probably will have to beat them at some stage if they remain in this form. Yes, so, as an Ireland fan, I have to say I'm worried all over again.